All right, we're back, Pops.
Yeah, it says the broadcast is live, and at any second I expect to see people streaming for the exits behind you.
Possibly.
Yeah.
You were just breaking up on me a little bit there, so let's keep tabs on that. If we need to, you might need to
Okay.
upload. But good evening. I am sorry that we're remote, but thank you for doing this. We're going to do a members only stream. We've got a ton of questions back on the YAA community, so we'll go through those in just a couple minutes here. Before we do, though, do you want to share the news that you just sent over to me? I'll pull it up on my screen.
What the fact that Honda's warning their dealers here in the United States to expect shortages of Honda supply, cuts in vehicles. Oh my God, a 40% drop, just a 40% drop. I
Yeah,
don't think
this
I
is
don't think that would have a negative impact on pricing
This
or
is what we
anything.
saw with Toyota as well. They said that theirs was going
Yes,
to be 40%, if I'm
yes,
not mistaken, and now Honda, which would also entail Acura as well, correct?
yes. It would Honda Acura.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and then also I noticed that Ford is continuing downtime at three more of its light truck plants. But other than that, things are going swimmingly for Ford.
So it's the same old story. If you don't need to be buying a car, don't buy a car right now. If you need to be buying
Yes,
a car, then we're here to help. And
yes,
Kimberly, thank you for acknowledging my big mic. I appreciate that. That
yeah.
helps.
That is a nice mic. Yeah,
We're
yeah,
gonna get you one, pops.
yeah. Well, sure. Yeah.
All
All
right.
I got this silly ball mic. You got that. That looks like a giant cigar mic. Uh, I mean, David Letterman would kill for that mic.
Do
Maybe
you
he has. I don't know.
have mic envy?
I do have mic envy. Yes.
All right, let me share my screen and let's start moving and shaking here, Pops. There are a ton of questions for
Okay,
today.
I'm shaking and moving, buddy.
I love it. All right, let me zoom in because I know you got not
Yeah,
super.
I got the old man eyes going. Yeah.
If you're joining the stream after the fact, we post every single Thursday back in the YA community. So this was 11 hours ago, and you
12
can
hours ago now. 12 hours.
12 hours ago now. You can comment, of which 26 of you did, and we will go through and we'll answer them. And then we'll come back to the live chat. We'll do the live chat as well.
I can tell it's going to start and open with my favorite type of question.
Laminigus Menicus.
Yeah.
Ray, my almond savings investments seem to be steadily draining me drier than the rivers that feed California. I was
Yes.
wondering if I would be better off investing in cryptocurrency. Should I switch to Bitcoin, or do I need to go to Dogecoin before I can get Bit? And then we had a bit of a conversation about this. I will let you react and reply.
Yeah.
Although Melissa says Dadcoin is a good idea,
Yeah,
and
if we're going to do something that doesn't really exist other than in the digital world, yeah, let's do Dad Coin. I like that. Dad Coin. We can stick my face on digital coins that I don't know don't really exist. Let's do it. How do we set this up? I believe it's in my digital DNA to do something like this.
I mean, we filmed today with Kimberly and we talked about cryptocurrency, and I'm so excited to see how roasted we get by people once that video goes out. All right, let's go back to the
Uh,
go
you
back.
know, I would. It's nice to know she's cleaning behind you. It's I would almost go back to the almond business.
Justice was pretty funny today with the almond
Yeah.
cubes. I thought that was pretty
Yes.
funny. And then Lemonicus Menicus actually bought his or her F-150 today. So
Yeah.
excited to see and hear more about that. Maybe we will open up the phone lines. Oh, I don't know how to do that remotely yet. We'll figure it
Yeah.
out. Somehow we'll get to Lemonicus and we'll hear about
Yeah.
your deal.
Yes.
Nick wants to know about Subaru inventories this week. I can take a quick peek, but I don't think they're in the data center yet. So give me.
I can tell you, I took a quick peek at Sioka's Subaru lot when I went over to look at a potential office space today,
Yeah.
and well, their inventory was less today than it was when we passed there 2 or 3 days ago.
If you follow us on Instagram, I posted to the story. It was on Friday night of last week or Saturday
Yes.
night of last week. My dad and I went out to dinner, drove past drove past the Subaru dealership, and nothing there. And so you're saying there's even less?
Considerably less. Yes. Yes. Not just less, but considerably less.
So
And
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and they recently bought that dealership from another concern, and typically when there's a buy sell, the manufacturer agrees to increase your flow of cars. So that you can help to offset the cost of the investment, but in this particular case, maybe Subaru's just giving them money because they don't seem to be giving them cars.
You've got Igor in here saying it will be less tomorrow than today. I mean, it's the theme. We were talking to someone who runs a multi storefront dealership group, saying, "Hey, I'm talking to the OEMs. They're saying August will be the worst month out of this. I'm saying it's probably going to be November, December," is what he said to me. So
Yeah,
I think this is
yeah.
going to change how the business works forever as a result of this. I hope we can be on kind of that cutting edge as well, pushing it in the right direction. But this is tough. I mean, I was reading something, Dad, today about the chip shortage. Like there could be like a Cold War type atmosphere around chips, around semiconductors, because people are realizing now geopolitically how powerful this can be.
Yes, you can. If you can control the chips, you can pretty much control the world.
I mean, I'm not. I know that like
No,
that.
I was being quasi serious.
I know,
I
and that
mean,
can be perceived as being like fake, but like
yeah, I could see a James Bond movie around this.
yeah, called Dad Coin
Yeah,
007.
yeah.
Also, we're hiring. Join YAA.com/careers. Please take a peek. If you know anyone who might want to join our team, please go to the website. Let's keep going though, Pops. So, and I did want to mention, we will get updated inventory data from Automotive News probably in 2 weeks. If you want,
No, it'll be sooner than that. The 31st is Tuesday. So my guess is that we will have updated inventory numbers either next Wednesday or Thursday, the first or the second.
no, it typically comes out like a week after the beginning of the month.
Like I was saying, the week after that, yes.
Come on, I'm the one that pulls them and posts them, Dad.
Okay, whatever.
And who knows? Maybe we'll have even fewer OEMs actually sharing that data. I need to talk to
Yes.
Raj. Maybe we can, with our data set, run a nationwide market day supply for different brands, because that would be interesting. Actually, like we could compare it to what Automotive News has as well. But anyway, once
Yes.
we have updated data, which could be as soon as next Wednesday, but I think it'll probably be
Can I say one thing?
yeah.
It's good to have Igor back in the house live.
There you go.
Yeah.
Justice is here as well, and yes,
It's
there
good to
was.
have Justice in the house live.
And TSMC said they were increasing their chip prices by 20% today. I was doing some reading on some online forums. People are saying that their chip people that use the chips, they could charge 100% more. They'd still pay for it. They just need the product. So you got to wonder who that's going to get passed on to eventually. Obviously, the
You
customer.
don't have to wonder. There's no question as to who it gets passed on to. It gets passed on to the end user, the consumer.
Exactly.
We always pay for it.
All right. So we've got from Christian question.
He's a
Christian,
Toro host.
yeah, that's cool.
What does that mean?
I think Toro is a type of sushi, and I think it is also, yep, it's the you can like rent cars.
Okay,
Car
so
sharing.
yeah, didn't you rent a car through them one time?
So maybe, and then Toro's sushi, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there you go. It's like a
Oh,
fatty. Is it fatty
tuna.
Sam?
Oh
It might
my
be
God!
tuna.
He hosts tuna.
Question about the email template for leasing cars. In today's market, with the limited amount of cars on lots, I don't want to specify a vehicle stock number. I pretty much have a couple of models in mind that I'd like the cheapest quotes for, some currently not in stock, which is fine because I'm not in a rush. But how can I convey to the salesperson that I want the lowest quote and I'm willing to wait or buy today? Thanks, Chris.
Well, honestly, I don't know what the lowest quote on a car that doesn't really exist or isn't in inventory is worth. It, it's the reason that you specify a car is so that they can give you the exact breakdown, and you can negotiate a price off of MSRP if you're lucky enough, or you can negotiate a price off of the additional dealer markup. But to just say, hey, give me a price on one coming in, I mean, they can look at it and you go, we have no idea when it's going to get here. We can't tell you what the lease rates and programs are going to be by the time it gets here. So you're much better off working on a vehicle in stock or a vehicle that's incoming in the next couple days.
Because otherwise, you're not really working a car deal.
You're otherwise you're having a conversation.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's it. You're not buying nothing.
Yeah.
And you're not really getting anything because there's no obligation for them to be able to provide you with anything if they don't even know when they're going to get that car.
Well said. All right.
Okay.
We've got from Roger.
Yes.
Hi, Ray and Zach. My wife and I are planning to lease a new 2022 Subaru Outback Premium trim. The dealer
Okay.
does not have it on their lot, so they are bringing it in. My question is, when I negotiate the deal, should I factor in the fact that since the car is not on their lot, they have not floor planned the car nor advertised the car. Therefore, the money that the dealership gets from the manufacturer is just straight profit. Do you know if this situation is like factory ordering a car?
It is not like factoring ordering a car at all. The dealer that has to dealer trade for the car, the dealer that ultimately trades it to them, they're the ones that are keeping the floor plan assistance on that car, not the dealer that's buying the car. So on a DX, a dealer trade, there's more expense involved for the dealer than if you were to actually buy a car out of stock or incoming being shipped to him directly. So yeah, don't factor in floor plan assistance because there is none. He didn't get it. It wasn't his car. The floor plan assistance went to the dealer who the car was shipped to initially from the manufacturer.
Yep. Or if he's stating that the vehicle's in transit, if Roger,
If it's in transit to the dealer that he's in contact with, that's a different story. But if it's in transit to another dealer, or if he has to do a dealer trade in order to get it to his dealer, no, there's no savings there.
what's up, Mike? Thanks for being here.
It's better to be late than not be here at all, Mike.
Yes. Okay. Let's keep on moving through. Jason, he's a first-time truck buyer. Welcome, Jason. Hey,
Yeah.
all. I am new here. And a first-time truck buyer looking to buy used. I've been researching for the last 3 months, and I've been finding there is a big market of imported trucks from Canada being sold in the U.S. market. Is this specific to trucks or more variety vehicles? And are people seeing more and more of this as less inventory in the U.S. is happening? Answer, that's yes. Would love you to shed some light on this if you have any information, pros, cons of purchasing a vehicle not originally marketed for the U.S. Pops, what is your take on this? And also, welcome Jason to the community.
Yes. It's going to be predominantly trucks and SUVs because those are still the number one and best selling vehicles in this country. Dealerships aren't going to be looking to buy used sedans out of Canada. The other concern is they tend to get a lot more snow and stuff in Canada. So there should be concerns about rust and things of that nature. But most of those vehicles, I believe, do meet U.S. safety standards. But
they can't be spec'd differently, though.
Yeah,
but if they specs for things,
if they don't conform to U.S. standards, and they have to be brought up to conform to U.S. standards, you also want to make sure that it recorded both in kilometers and miles, because in Canada they go by kilometers. In this country, we go by miles.
Yeah, Pops. I mean, I actually just ran into this. We had a community member who tried to run a trade-in for an Audi on the Black Book back on our website, and it didn't come back. And he reached out to our support, help@joinyaa.com, and I got the ticket, and I ran it by our rep at Black Book. And Rainier, our rep at Black Book, said, "Yeah, this is actually a Canadian VIN." So I went back to the so it couldn't decode. So I went back to the couldn't decode for the endpoint that we've used, the US VIN.
Yes.
So I went back to the YAA member and I said, "Hey, Royce," I said, "Hey, Royce, this is a Canadian VIN. I know you said you're in Seattle, but you bought a Canadian car." And he said, "Well, that's funny because I bought it from the Seattle Audi dealership, and I'm pretty sure it's a U.S. car." I go back to Rainier and I say that, and Rainier then contacts his rep at Audi And it turns out that at the end of production for the 2021 Audi TT that they produced, they actually ended up just merging the VIN, the way that they created the VINs. So there's a batch of Audis out there that have VINs that are US specific, a batch of Audi TTs from 2021 or 2022 that have Canadian specific VINs, and a batch that has both. And
Wow.
interestingly, in that case, they're the same car. They're the same car in Canada, they're the same car in the US. But there are definitely trims of vehicles that are not the same and have a Canadian spec versus a US spec.
Yes.
And that's where things can get tricky. You could be looking at a Monroney label and a window sticker that's totally different for a Canadian spec Ram 1500 than a US spec Ram
Yeah,
1500.
but I believe we're talking about used vehicles, not new vehicles. So
And I think
there wouldn't be a Monroney per se. But
Yeah, but
it,
even if it's used dead and it's coming down, and let's say it's a 2019 used Ram 1500, and you don't realize that it's Canadian spec, like that could have different functionality, different. Yeah.
well, that's why I'm saying you have to make sure it conforms to U.S. standards.
Well, I think, and also if you were to uncover that it's Canadian, that might hurt resale value.
Well, I know occasionally we would get Canadian cars.
Yeah.
But I mean, this was years and years and years ago, and it was easy to tell because it didn't record miles; it recorded kilometers. And the car might have had 100,000 kilometers, and they're going, yeah, but it's only like 67,000 miles. Yeah, well, it doesn't say that. When you go to resell it, it's not like you can just say, well, here's the conversion table, here's how you figure it out.
Are Canadian emission standards compatible? That's an interesting question.
I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah.
But they would have to, like I said, they have to be brought up to U.S. standards. Yeah. So you'll probably see more and more of them coming into the country, especially in the northern states.
So your concerns around negotiating them kind of similar to like any used car pre-purchase inspection.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, absolutely. Let me share my screen again, Pops. It's from GJ Scott. Hey, Ray.
I answered him the other day.
Nice.
And on a Nero, I think it was, or some.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nero.
Yeah.
I think I tagged you on that one. Thank you for jumping in.
Did, yes.
Yep. Space. He's taking Space's advice, shifting to Kona.
Cool.
Every time I try and get out, they pull me back in. Oh my. A VW dealership has reached back out to me after a long time of silence on the ID4 Pro S, given the invoice price and selling price, the hot market conditions in general, and on this car specifically. Would you still recommend an offer of $44,250 on this? Let's take a peek. MSRP, selling price.
It's nice. Nice to know. Yeah, nice to know that the selling price is considerably more than the MSRP.
Yeah, door edge guards and all that fun stuff. So the market price report is suggesting $44,250. It's gonna be hard for us on the fly to make specific recommendations. But what are your thoughts, Pops? Do you have any from this? Invoice price is $44,000. I'm gonna open the door behind me. I'll be right back.
You're gonna open the door behind you?
There's no one here, and it's hot as can be in this room.
Well, oh my God! So no matter where we record, you're sweating. In today's market, if you could actually get the car at MSRP or below, then you're doing well. I mean, $300 for the 3M door edge guards, that's a bit much. It's like everything. Everything's in short supply, so the dealers are making. It's like Bill Maher. They're making new rules, okay? And the new rules are you're not getting a car below MSRP as long as we've got a say in it. And it's unfortunate, and what VW is going to do is they're going to say, well, yeah, but look at the rebates you're getting. Well, part of those rebates are electric vehicle rebates from the feds.
Igor's in here saying VW has about 8% markup, 2% under invoice. So, I mean, look, some of those ID4s have been sitting for a long, long time. I mean, like in this market, a long, long time, over 30 days. So I think if you can get them, if you can get them below MSRP, you can get rid of the door edge guards. Yeah, that's a fair deal in this market.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yes.
Share the screen again.
Could you?
Yes. Bruce Wayne. his subheading is factory orders.
I like that.
How do I get a dealership to sell me a factory order Dodge Challenger Hellcat Red Eye at invoice price?
I don't know. You agree to pay him several $1,000s over that. I mean, what do you mean? Why would you even? I mean, how? How do you get? I don't know. You bring a gun? I mean, what? How? You threaten him. You threaten his family. You look at him. You go, "Hey, I know where your children go to school." I mean, how are you going to get them to do that in this market? And why would they do that? Because you're a nice guy, and you're not going to hurt his children, even though you know where they go to school. I'm sorry.
I'm going to share the screen again.
I'll try to be good now, but I mean, there's certain things. I mean, if it were you, how would you think you could do it?
No, I think you hit. I mean, you hit most of the options. Blackmail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You got pictures of what? I mean, God. I'll be good.
Dad, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Bruce.
Let's start over. Let's start over. How do I get a dealership to sell me a factory order Dodge Challenger Hellcat Red Eye at invoice price and avoid all the extra fees they tack on? What are your thoughts about hiring a professional car
concierge, whatever.
1 second.
Yeah.
Consigliere.
Thank you. I've watched too many. I've seen The Godfather too many times.
To help me with advice, and do you have any recommendations about how to find a good one? Now, Pops, I think there is something that we can really hit on here. Okay, the likelihood, your reaction is very indicative of the reality of the market.
Yes,
you're going to get that car at that price.
Yes.
Yeah, Bruce, very afford to pay.
Yeah, he should be able to. Yeah, but I don't think this is the real Bruce Wayne.
You're not going to be able to get that deal at that price.
Yeah,
and it's a misnomer or a misconception. The thought that by hiring a car, 1 second, how do you pronounce this again? By hiring a car
consigliere,
doesn't mean you're actually going to get that price either. You're going to get the convenience.
Yeah, and maybe
it's because you're going to pay sticker.
And maybe he can get you a little bit of a discount under MSRP or something like that. But nobody's going to get you that car at invoice or anywhere near invoice today. Yeah. And every day there's more news about cars that are being lost to production. The manufacturer stating that the past week, Toyota said, gee, we're cutting production in September by 40%. And in America, that'll translate into about 80,000 cars that should have been produced for America that will not be for September. Honda Acura just announced they're cutting
40%.
40%. And they already have low day supplies of inventory.
That's what's going to be so damn interesting in a week and a half. I mean, what we're going to do, we'll make a video and we'll also, of course, do it on a stream. I want to look at the past 3 months' days supply of inventory for all the different manufacturers and then compare it to 3 years ago at the same time. And here you go. I mean, Igor's, nobody will anything. No one's going to sell anything at invoice.
Yeah.
And don't shoot the messenger here. We're just trying. So on that Dodge Challenger Red Eye Hellcat, your best bet is no additional dealer markup and no extra fees.
I mean, at this point, if what we're seeing is a continuing dwindling of availability, then how do you? It's going to be difficult enough to convince a dealer when you want a factory order a car to be kind enough and gracious enough almost to not charge you more than MSRP. Because if their numbers of allocations keep dropping, why would they want to order a car for you? Even though you might want to order a car, why would they want to order a car for you? They'd rather just be a stock unit. They can put it on the lot and they can put their additional dealer markup label of 5,000 or 7,000 or 10,000 or whatever it is. My buddy Glenn Bob at his Mercedes dealership, there was a G-Wagon, an AMG G-Wagon, with $70,000 additional dealer markup over MSRP, and somebody wanted it bad enough they paid it. So, if you went to the dealer and said, well, hey, I'd like to order one and I'll pay MSRP, the dealer might look at you and go, why would I want to do that? I'd rather have the car for inventory.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Consigliere.
All right, let's get
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
get back to
Yeah.
going.
That was God, Tom. Tom was his name in the Godfather's movies. He was the consigliere, however you say it.
Hey,
I can't say it. My
your
Italian's really
say your
bad.
sentence again. But stop with. All right, say Tom was the.
Tom was the.
Consigliere.
Yes, he was, and he was very good.
You were supposed to finish your sentence. Tom was the
Consigliere.
in the movie. Something right.
In the Godfather. Yes, he was.
I'll come back to that.
Okay,
This
thanks.
is from
We need to work on that.
Ready?
Tom was the
Consigliere.
in the Godfather movies.
I honestly, that was pretty.
Yeah.
Right,
Thank you very much.
I realized that the negotiations concerning the price of a new vehicle and the price of a trade-in vehicle should be conducted separately. However, at what point in the process would you recommend allowing the dealer to inspect/drive my trade-in vehicle? It would seem that, although time-consuming, I should not let them inspect the trade-in unless we have agreed upon an OTD price for the new vehicle. Thanks in advance. Melissa, I see some comments in here as well. Commonly, good time to bring up the trade is when you're prepared to purchase in conjunction with when the salesperson is ready to present you with the numbers. I had this in my notes that I believe I found on the internet during trade of my vehicle. Once you see how much you're paying in total, you can tell them that you have a vehicle that you're looking to trade in to put towards the next car. If you tell the dealership that you have a trade in first and you need another vehicle, they're likely to appraise the trade in before anything else. I want to piggyback on this, Dad. I saw a lot of comments on our most recent factory order video talking about, well, when do I get the appraisal for my trade-in? So when do I bring it up in the process? And then, what if I am factory ordering?
Okay, well, let's start with if it's a car in stock. Once you've agreed to an out-the-door number on the car you want to buy, then you say, okay, I'd like to see what you'll pay me for my car now. I'm thinking that perhaps if your offer is strong enough, I'll trade my car in. If not, I will sell it privately or sell it to a competitor of yours. Now, on a factory order, a dealer can tell you what your car is worth today, but they cannot necessarily predict what your car might be worth a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now. It depends how long it takes for the car to get built. And some people will say, well, get it appraised, get it in writing, so they have to stand by it. Well, if they appraise it today, and I don't know, 3 weeks from now, you're in an automobile accident in that vehicle, well, the appraisal from 3 weeks ago is no longer valid because it's not in the same condition. And I would suspect that market conditions will be such that used cars will still be worth an exorbitant amount of money a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now. But will that exorbitant amount of money decline to a certain degree? I don't know. So typically, a dealer can tell you what your car would be worth today. If you want to lock that number in, you do a pre-trade, you sell them the car then, and they agree to give you that amount as your trade allowance when the car comes in. It's known as a pre-trade. And we used to do that quite a bit. Or they're going to tell you, we'll be more than happy to appraise your car when your new vehicle gets here, and based on whatever those market conditions are. What did Igor have to say?
Unless, just what you're saying with the pre-trade.
Yeah.
Holly's here in the chat. Let's address this really quick. I can't find one Kia dealership in Texas to factory order a Carnival SXP. Interesting, because I don't know if Kia does factory orders to begin with. So they might be like on an allocation system like Toyota.
Well, they are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Out-of-state dealers willing to, and shipping fees are lower than the dealer markup in Texas for in-stock models. It's crazy. And here you go, Justice saying each market has different hot cars, so it can be very beneficial to look at your local area if the car is hard to find in your
Yes.
area. Very true. The
Yeah.
Carnival's tricky because it's a brand new model.
Yes.
So that adds some complexity here. So there's
Yes,
not like
it does.
a big built-up supply or a prior model year you can rely on. All right, let's go back to let me share my screen. Consigliere. Bart
Yes.
Cole, veteran, thank you for your service.
Cool.
Hi, guys. My 2019 Volvo S60 R Design lease will be up in March of 2022. My monthly payment less sales tax is $658, and the residual value buyout at the end of the lease is $32,600. Now that my wife and I are retired, we don't drive much anymore, and we're nowhere near the allotted 36,000 miles on the 3-year lease. We currently have about 21,500 miles on the vehicle, and I wanted your advice as to what I should do at the end of the lease. Should I buy it out, turn it in for another 3-year, 30,000 mile lease, or purchase a new vehicle? Enjoy listening to your shows. What's your take, Pops?
Well, it depends on what the market conditions are in March of 2022. If in March of 2022, lease return vehicles are what they are today, which is most of the residuals are somewhere between 30 and 50% below what the actual market value is.
We just posted this. I'll pull it up while you're talking.
Yes. So if in March, the residual is, say, 30% less than what the real market value is, and you know that car because, I don't know, you've just driven it for the last 3 years, and you know how you've driven it, and you know how you've maintained it. And if you can buy it for 30 or 40% below what the market value is, it would seem to me that it would make sense to buy that car. And you could buy that car and then turn around and sell it and reap whatever profits there might be for yourself.
Yeah, the only option on there that's a non-starter is don't just go turn it back in.
No, do not do that. You could possibly trade it in, and they could give you market value for it, or something approaching market value. And don't forget, retail market value is different than wholesale value. And the dealer can't necessarily give you retail market value because, well, then they can't turn around and sell it.
That's why we have the black book values.
Yes.
All of them. Yeah.
So it'll depend on what market conditions are in March of 2022. But if they are similar to what they are today, the advice today would be to buy the car and take advantage of the fact that you're buying it for much less than what the true market value is.
Well said, Dad.
Well, it's just said. I don't know if it's well said. It's said.
Quality dad advice.
Oh.
All right. Jeremy Crystal.
Yes.
I think car buying will ever be the same as it used to be. Matthew says no. Jeremy says I don't think so either, but want to get other opinions as well. So let's answer this. And then there are a host more comments and questions.
Okay.
So we'll have to keep moving through. But what's your take on this, Dad? Do you think car buying will ever be the same as it used to be?
I don't know. And nobody really knows. Everything runs in cycles. There have been times in the past where there have been shortages and everything sold for way too much money. And then suddenly there were way too many cars and everything sold for way too little money.
What cycle or what shortage is even?
Well, back in the 70s, when the government determined that the Japanese automakers were only allowed to bring in a limited number of cars every year, as opposed to what they had been bringing in, that created artificial shortages. Now we figured out ways to get cars from other places, but the point is we go through these things. Now this is like a perfect storm between COVID, between the chip shortage and this and that. Do I think there could be some long-lasting fundamental changes? Yeah, I think there could. I don't think they'll be quite as drastic as what people are predicting or hoping for. But I think it'll be a long time before we see dealership lots where dealers were used to having 1,000 or 1,200 new and used cars on their lot every month. I think it'll be a long time before we see that again. They might have 600, which is a lot of cars, but it's half of what they used to have.
I really strongly disagree with you, and I think Kimberly's
Okay.
up. I've seen a lot of insane market stuff. Wait a second, I've got the perfect ad lib for that.
There's not a big enough bull to make that much poop
in
Wow.
the industry, but never have I seen this. And I agree. I hear what you're saying in terms of, hey, there's cycles, there's patterns. How many different weekly black book reports do we have to see and read through? And it says the seasonality is unlike prior seasons, right? Like, yes, of course, there's seasonality, and there are big macroeconomic events that happened in the past, the 70s, for example. Great Recession, they were probably big.
Yeah.
If there was ever a time for an industry to change, it's now. And we're seeing it with the quotes and comments from Ford CEO, from GM CEO. Dad, in the 70s, there wasn't Tesla pushing us to this order a car, one price. I mean, like, I think, and you and I know when we started YAA, my whole rationale for the business, the way that we could sell memberships, the way that we could help people is because we're going to help them negotiate, right? I thought it was going to be at least 20 years before we get rid of negotiating. I mean, it's just I think this is going to speed that up big time. What's there to negotiate if you're pre-ordering every single car? And I think you're moving closer towards an environment where that's exactly what you're doing. I don't think it's next year, but I think 5 years from now, that's what it's going to be. The price is
Perhaps
the price. Order the car.
I
Those lots, all that real estate, it's going to be so. It's like malls. It's like retail malls. You know how like now retail malls are putting servers in them and things like that for mining Bitcoin. Something I don't
that's
know.
where I have to go.
I shouldn't have done that. I think it's going to end up being like that. Like these big dealer lots. I don't know. And I got Igor on my side, and I got Justice on my side, or maybe he's preaching it to Kimberly. But I think it's going to be different.
I like I said, I don't know. I don't know how you predict it. Because this has just been such a unique set of circumstances. But I can see where dealers would love to keep it this way because they're making more money than they've ever made.
No, that's the thing. Everyone's going that who gets to make the decision? Like who makes the decision here? It's the people that control the supply, which is the OEM and it's the dealerships. We don't get to make the decision. And like we look at the reports more frequently than anyone else, maybe like Wall Street analysts, but like profits are higher. You're talking to your buddies. I'm talking to people in the industry. People are making a killing. I don't think that this is going to last forever because I don't think consumers can afford to pay this much of a premium for cars. I think a lot of the back end profits are going to go away. The whole reason there used to be the reason that there's back end profits is because, as you've told us in the past, there's no front end margin.
There wasn't front end margin, so you had to figure out a way to make money somewhere.
You had to come up with really creative ways. And now we've got really good creative ways to sell crapola stuff on the back end. And we're making $3,000 on the front end. Whoa. So like, I think the evolution here is that, okay, you can have your front end gross, but we're going to put a hell of a lot of pressure on you on the financing piece, on the extended warranty piece. Like, I think we can make this not a terrible thing for the consumer, but we don't really get the choice because the people that are making a ton of money are going to be the ones that control it.
Yes, but I guess we'll just
wait 60 to 90 days to buy a car. New video coming soon. Definitely.
Yeah, didn't we do that once before?
I probably
isn't how all this nonsense started with us?
One bad prediction a year and a half.
Yes. Well, we do more than one bad prediction every year.
We're good for at least 2 or 3.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Dad Coin could change everything.
And that is his platform, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go back to the community forum. Dad Coin. What was bad? All right, an EV in every garage,
a chicken in every pot,
and a Dad Coin in every,
and an EV in every plug. Yeah.
A more 7. Okay, gentlemen. I am normally a 10-year car owner before I purchase new. My question is, with the push for clean electric cars, should I even think about investing in a new gas-powered vehicle and end up being totally worthless in, say, 5 to 7 years? Your knowledgeable opinion is greatly appreciated. That's from Tony. Dad, do you think ICE, internal combustion engine vehicles, are going to be, quote, completely worthless in 5 to 7 years?
No.
Agreed. Let's move on to the next. We don't.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of people that'll still want to continue to drive internal combustion engine cars.
Matthew B.
And if I may, I mean, when you look at, for instance, if I wanted one, okay, I live in a condominium, and we don't have any charging stations on our parking lot here at the condominium. So if you live in an apartment complex that doesn't have charging stations, or you live in a condominium that doesn't have charging stations, how is it that you're going to convert from a gasoline powered engine or diesel engine to a electric vehicle if you have no place within walking distance of where you live?
Pop's got I've got a very easy, simple answer for you.
Okay.
Your neighbor who's constantly doing yard work.
Yeah. Plug in at his place.
That son of a gun probably has the best extension cord collection you've ever seen.
Yes.
Grab like 3 or 4 of them. Run it across, what's that, Derby? No.
That would be Calvert.
Run it across Calvert Street.
Yeah.
Gold.
Yeah, okay.
That gets the night's first.
Yeah, buddy.
Because I just gave it to myself.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, we're coming back here. Matthew B. Okay, I'm trying to buy a green Forester Premium with the rear cross traffic alerts in the Denver area. I just moved to the area, and my wife and
I only have one car.
I just moved to the area, and my wife and I only have one car. Okay.
Yeah.
I would like a second. That just really threw me off. I sold my old 2009 Ford Fusion prior to moving. I need it. I'm not in need yet.
You're reading this. I'm not in need yet, but in more need once the snow starts falling in Denver. That could be tomorrow. I had a deposit on a Subaru Forester, but was told it was damaged in shipping. They moved my $1,000 deposit to another Forester, same model, different VIN, but slightly cheaper accessories, like $100 difference. Communication with the sales team is abysmal. They never cashed my deposit check. They won't answer my question on how the car was damaged or get a date for when the second Forester is in transit is scheduled. They won't tell me what the actual difference between the older car and the newer one is. My God, what's the point of all this?
I'm a pain because I'm paying close to MSRP. I want green one. Green inventory is not existent in the Denver area. So internet rumors 2022 Forester is coming out on 2 September. Okay, is it just this? All right, anyway. Whatever. If it does, should I factory order one, preferably from a different dealer, and stop payment on the deposit with the other dealer? There's a really nice salesman that seems to be working hard for me at one price Subaru that don't charge dock fees, but I'm sure they make money. But insure.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever. Probably on accessories. And if I was told any advice on what I would go work with that nice guy.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you want to reward the nice people?
Well, also because pretty much everything is one price right now, right?
Yeah. So just go reward the nice guy. And apparently you don't even have to stop payment on your deposit check, since they're not depositing your deposit check. So maybe instead of stopping payment, which you could do and probably cost $10 to do that, you could just go over there and say, hey, do me a favor, can I have my check back?
And you know what, Pops, you've shared this in the past. Negotiation free stores or one price stores, like, yes, they are one price, but hell, you can push them a little bit, see if you can negotiate. You've experienced that before. You can try.
The ones that do it right will not negotiate with you. They would let you walk over $50.
Igor has it right here. Wow, It's horrible treatment by the dealership, but it's the customer's choice what to do. Either take the abuse or move on. And our advice is
move on.
I wish I had an ad lib for like hit the road Jack or something.
We need an Igor Koski stamp of approval.
All right, there you go. All right, let me share my screen. Let's keep moving here. So from
that deserved an Igor Koski stamp of approval, by the way.
I mean, we don't even have stamps of approval for all the people on the YA team, Dad. So maybe we could get those first. But
okay,
your call.
No, you're the CEO.
I mean, I don't want to get into this right now on the live stream, but I just think it's probably more appropriate. All right, we're getting.
Yeah, you
I
know,
think probably more appropriate.
I'm
Igor,
I'm
I'm honored for you too. I just
I'm just an advisor.
let's get a justice stamp of approval or a space stamp of approval.
Okay,
That would be.
okay. Make it so.
Yeah, and that's the only thing. Then you just get down. And then we get all right. Anyway, back to work.
Next.
Richard, you did good reading that last one. You run it back again.
So, with most new car dealerships only having a few cars on the lot, and where they are taking orders for vehicles they probably won't be delivered for months, are the manufacturers giving the dealers end of month bonus money or end of quarter bonus money for cars sold. For example, if a dealer sells just a few cars in this quarter, do they get a bonus? The reason I ask is waiting until the end of the month or quarter used to get some of the best deals. I imagine that now it's gone, and yeah. Well, I am. Igor could probably answer this better than I can.
Which now I got egg on my face for what I just did. So Igor, enlighten us.
Well, because he runs a dealership, so he has a better understanding.
Thank you for being here, Igor, amongst everyone else.
What was that?
I said thank you, Igor, for being here amongst everyone else.
Yeah. I'm assuming that some of the manufacturers are still setting up sales objectives for dealerships, not dealer shits, but dealerships to hit. But the rewards aren't going to be there for a dealership that doesn't sell a lot of cars. I mean, if their objective is to sell 60 cars in a month and they only sell 30, they're not, but maybe they only had 40 in inventory, then they need to talk to the manufacturer about what their objective was.
Do you think that there are objectives, like you used to give objectives to your salespeople? Like, would that be going on?
Yeah, and I used to get objectives from the manufacturer that were grossly unfair. They'd look at what you did last year. For an example, let's say in August of 2018, we sold 73 new cars. And so in August of 2018, having looked at their historical data as to what we sold the year before, they go, so for August 2018, your objective's 110. Well, wait a second. That's like a 50% increase. And that's the type of stuff we would get sometimes, which were, just infuriating. And it was like, so they're saying, here's the deal, give every car away so that you can get to that 110. Oh, and by the way, if you finish at 109, all those cars you gave away, you're not making nothing. So, the objectives have to be somewhat realistic. And some dealers will look at them and they'll go, you know what? It's not a realistic number. We're not even going to chase it. And others will do whatever they have to get to that number. And then if they fall short, they poop their pants.
Kimberly's in here saying they never even made sense. Objectives.
Rarely, yeah.
We've got Pops.
Yes.
The first Ray Shevska stamp of approval tonight for April Hughes.
Yes.
Made it to her live for her first live stream. Got my Subaru this week and will be posting my picture and story on the Success Story channel. Thanks everyone for your helpful tips. That is awesome.
Congratulations, April.
I actually don't know how to do the stamp of approval. Oh, yes, I do. I'm going to have to get rid of you. I don't want to get rid of you.
Oh, well, whatever. Can't you just stamp over my head?
Well, the thing is, I think I can only stamp. Oh, that's confetti.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that looks like confetti. You can do it. Colin. That's a call us now, which you shouldn't.
Jessica, stamp of approval.
That's kind of cool because then you get to we get to go split screen and you get to watch yourself stamp.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Many years ago, before my parents passed away, my father once said to me, he says, "Do you have any goals in life?" And I looked at him and I said, "Dad, I want a Ray Shevska stamp of approval. I want to be able to give people the Ray Shevska stamp of approval." and he had no idea what the hell I was talking about.
You know, and that brings me so much joy that as your son, I can help you manifest that reality.
Yes.
40 years later,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yes.
50 years
Yes.
later.
That and Dad, why didn't you get me the braces when I needed them? Yeah.
Your dad, you got me braces.
Yeah, I got you braces. I got your sister braces. I'm the son of a dentist, and his excuse for not getting me braces. Well, you didn't ask for them, right? What 13-year-old says, "Hey, I'd like to get braces"?
Do you think I've got a follow-up question on you? Follow-up question for you that kind of hits on, we've talked about the future of the dealership and also
Yes.
the incentives. Do you think those incentives will be in play 5 years from now? And partly I ask this because Nissan was one of the last major OEMs to have stair-step programs, and they got
Yes.
rid of them, and they've seen things improve drastically as a result, which
Yeah.
also coincides obviously with this chip shortage. So maybe that's unfair to say is because they got rid of stair step. Away from end of month, end of quarter, end of year incentives.
I think there'll always be some type of incentives, but I think they'll be much smaller than what they've been in the past. And I think legitimately it's better for everybody if there's more limited monthly, quarterly, annual incentives, so that the vehicles can be worth what they're worth, and dealerships don't have to just discount them to nothing in order to make this other money, so that they can actually turn a profit. I think the dealers would look at the manufacturer and go, "We kind of like it like the way it is now," and the manufacturer would go, "Well, we kind of like not having to spend that extra money in any type of incentives," so that there could be a marriage there, that if we can figure out a way to get the pricing more equitable for the consumers, then I think that's a marriage that could work for everybody involved.
Do you sometimes feel like we're married?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Yeah. If we weren't married, I wouldn't put up with the fact that those two microphones are still attached to my dining room table, and that there's that giant ass monitor on my dining room table, and that there's barely enough room for one person to sit at that table to eat. But then again, I'm only one person, so
I look forward to doing Saturday night's live stream from your condo.
Yeah, I know. Yes, me too.
All right, let's keep moving here. Let me share my screen. Okay, we've got from Omar Garcia here. First time leasing a vehicle, can you please briefly digest this quote for a 2021 Chevy LT Trail Boss? I am negotiating with the actual owner. What terms do you recommend I negotiate? Ultimately, I want to give a max $2,500 down. You actually want to give zero down.
Yes.
With zero down, my goal is to have a monthly payment of, it's always tricky when you're aiming for a monthly, but $700 to $725. See more. Okay, do you want to break down one of these lease worksheet examples? Can you see that okay on your
I can see the MSRP is $55,990. I can see they're giving him $1,000 discount. And okay, and the doc fee is California, so it's low. The acquisition fee is $690. That's set by the bank. License fees, okay. What's the payment? With the payment's $648 with $5,000 down.
Is that you're looking for? Oh, there you are down here.
Yeah. So the residual is 58%, which seems reasonable. I don't know what the money factor is.
Looks like it's up here, 0.0.
Oh, yeah, well, that's really good. So
upfront charges, cap reduction, help us understand kind of what some of these
are.
Out
of the $5,000, $3,077 is going to reducing the capitalized cost.
And so that's genuinely money down, right?
Yes, that's lowering the cost to the bank.
So it's a payment amount.
Yeah. Now, don't forget, for every $1,000, it impacts the payment about $30 a month on a 36-month lease. So if you only put $2,500 down, and we would recommend zero, but $2,500 would be 30, 60, about $75 a month. So that would put you right at $725 a month, approximately speaking, with $2,500 down. If you put zero down, that's going to increase the payment about $150 a month. So you need to negotiate either a little more of a discount, a lot more of a discount if you can, or see if there are any rebates of any kind that you might qualify for that would help reduce the cost of the vehicle to the bank.
Yeah, no, that's so helpful. It's reading those lease quotes is always challenging.
Yeah, so that money factor was wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's like 0.8 of a point in interest.
yeah,
Yeah.
0.9.
Well, it's pretty good off the top of my head. You know, when I had more hair, it came closer.
Got a question here from Holly. Let's see this. Do you think
Yeah.
if this were painful and not profitable for auto manufacturers, they come up with a creative solution alternative for immediate chip issue? Consumers are teaching them they don't have to. What do you think?
Well, I think that the manufacturers would really rather actually be able to build the cars. Okay. And the reason they can't come up with a quick and easy fix for the chip shortage is strictly because there is no quick and easy fix for the chip shortage. Um, they get to amortize all their costs for all these vehicles, and the more vehicles they can make, the quicker they can absorb those costs, and so this actually impacts them, and it doesn't just impact them, but it impacts their workers. So it just has too many negative impacts for the entire economy, for their business. Yeah, trust me, they would rather figure out a way to be building more of these cars and not less.
Yeah, and I don't think they'd be sending vehicles that don't have chips in them to market. Like, I think that's an option potentially if there were creative ways to do it, but I don't think that's something that anyone really wants to see. They spec them, and also from a safety standpoint, like I remember doing a lot of research on this. Like when you spec and say who your parts suppliers are, and then it goes through NHTSA and everything, like it's got to be that. Like
Yes.
that has to make it on the road. So I think there's a lot of bureaucratic and government hurdles, regulatory hurdles that you have to face if you're going to change things midstream.
You know, we had a commenter on the YouTube channel who's a car hauler, and he said it's going to take a year once things get back to normal to get all the cars to dealer lots, because there's actually a shortage of some car haulers.
That's
So
such a great
there's
point.
other issues. I mean, there's just so many ancillary issues that impact this. But trust me, the manufacturer makes money by manufacturing vehicles and shipping them and invoicing them to their dealers.
Yeah.
So
And that's why I think, back to the earlier point of conversation we were having, the topic of, is this a change in the industry? And Justice said evolution. And I think it is, because, and you've got Igor chiming in here, chip shortage isn't going away anytime soon. 18 to 24 months is what I'm hearing directly from the source, right? I mean, this is not, I think it's the next 5 years are impacted by this.
Could
And
be.
that's the first time I've said that on camera, but I think it's probably 5 years because of what you just said. There are other ancillary factors. And that's why I think as consumers, and especially with YAA, the value that we can provide is likely going to transition away from like, how much can I negotiate on this car deal, to how fair of a car deal, total car deal, including the back end, like
Yes.
how fair and how like efficient can I be, and like being treated well. Like we need to figure that out.
Well, I sit here and I think to myself, in 15 months, my lease is up. Not that I drive my car much. And I'm thinking to myself, gee, in 15 months, am I going to want to get another car? Am I going to want to buy? I know I don't want to buy my Mini, as much as I like my Mini, and even though it won't have a lot of miles on it, maybe by that time it'll have 16,000 miles on it, maybe 17. But I know how maintenance intensive they are once they run out of warranty and factory free maintenance. Am I just going to be better off Ubering and lifting and doing that as opposed to ever owning another vehicle?
Walking.
What?
Well,
Okay, yeah, walking, yeah. Yeah. That ice cream will melt, but what the hell?
I invited my dad, just for everyone to know. I invited him on a boardwalk walk date the other night, trying to be proactive.
Yeah, and I didn't accept.
Didn't accept. So
Yeah.
and we've got multiple scooter recommendations.
Yeah, and my friend, much like I didn't accept your offer to go crabbing at 8 o'clock in the morning this Saturday.
Yeah, come on, man. You
Yeah,
got
come on,
to
man.
live.
Come on, man.
Get out there.
Yeah.
Okay. April saying I don't understand how to get more chips made. You know, it actually costs $20 billion is what I read to build one of the chip producing machines. In part because they're so expensive to transport. I'll try and find the article actually while we're on.
It was a great article.
Yeah. Oh, did I share it with you?
Yeah, those giant ass machines. Yeah, that take like 4 or 5 planes and 100 trucks and
Because you can't get anything dirty.
well, yeah.
Like legitimately, like everything has to kind of stay in a vacuum sealed environment because if it gets any type of particulates in there, then the chips are going to be all bad. It's insane. It's truly insane. So it costs, yeah.
It's there's no simple fix. Everybody would like to think we'll just produce more. It doesn't. You can't just say, "Gee, we're going to produce more" if they're already at maximum capacity. And in order to increase capacity, you have to build more plants. And a lot of these chip manufacturers are expediting their growth funds for building new factories, moving up the time frame from 5 years to 1 year or 2 years. But if today you said, okay, we're gonna build the factory, you could say it today, but that it won't be ready for a year and a half. So it's not like by saying, okay, we're going to build a factory that you can produce chips. We're many months out before any of those can come to production.
When did I send you that article? Did I text it to you or did I email
I
it?
don't know. It was a few days ago. It was really an interesting thing. Was it VAR or something like that? VARs or
VARs?
Yeah, it was a chip company, a manufacturer. What was it? A Norwegian company that was a monopoly because it builds the equipment that they build the chips with.
Give me a second. I'm going to see. I think I might be able to find it here.
Yeah.
Give me one second.
And it was just they had made a bet on this 30 years ago.
Wasn't it? I think I found it. ASML. Yep, here we go.
Yeah.
All right, hang tight. Oh, it was a Twitter. Yeah, here you guys go. All right, let me share my screen. This is so fascinating.
It really was.
Share my screen. I'm gonna have to zoom in. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. Hopefully. Whoops. So ASML is the most important company you've never heard of. The $300 billion Dutch firm makes the machines that make semiconductors. Each one costs 100. There you go. I was off 20 billion, 150 million. And access to them are a huge geopolitical flashpoint. Here's the breakdown. What exactly does ASML sell? Its key product is an extreme ultraviolet lithography EUV machine.
Lithography.
1 second.
Lithography.
You're right, lithography, which uses advanced light technology to print tiny circuits onto silicon wafers. Only about 50 are made a year, and ASML has a near monopoly on the machine technology. You definitely know ASML's main clients, Intel, Samsung, and TSMC. They need EUV to keep Moore's law, the number of transistors on microchips doubling every 2 years, alive and continue to advance computing. Total ASML sales in 2020 were $16+ billion. The ASML story begins in 1984 as a joint venture between Dutch conglomerate Philips and an electronics maker called Advanced Semiconductor Materials. The project had a very humble start. It was launched in a shed behind the Philips building in the Netherlands. The venture's first product.
You might have been launched in a shed. I'm not sure. Yeah, buddy.
The venture's first product was called the PA2000 Stepper. They failed. ASML was spun out into its own company. Their first big hit was in 1991. They IPO'd in 1995. They acquired a number of U.S. lithography.
Yeah.
Lithography.
Yeah, lithography.
It had comparable market share to Nikon and Canon. From there, ASML made 2 big bets that separated from the pack. Let me keep going.
Anyway, they're needed, and they can only build 50 a year.
Yeah, I just want to see if they had like the thing about the planes. 50, yeah. Why can they only do 50 a year? Coordinating thousands of suppliers. Each machine is custom. Lead times are long. It takes 40 weeks to produce some of the components. There you go. The delivery process is nuts too. Each EUV weighs 180 tons. Disassembling 40 shipping containers, 20 trucks, and 3 747s. The minimum spend to have one of these is $1 billion. Okay, you get the point.
Yeah.
That's
if you said we're gonna build the plant, you're gonna have to wait a year to get one of those machines. If you're lucky. If you're the owner. If you're good friends with the owner.
Which again, this is why this becomes a geopolitical issue.
Yes.
I'm telling you, this could be like a Cold War on chips. I really
Yeah.
I'm not saying that lightly.
Oh, man, you looked like Joe Buck there during an NFL broadcast when you slyly slid the headphone cord behind your shoulder.
You know, I could like be doing it with my mask here too. I could
I found that that was a very professional move.
You want to go for a walk with me this weekend?
Sure. Where are we going and when?
We've got Igor helping out a bunch in the chat, which we really appreciate. And Melissa saying, this is what Pops is saying.
Yeah.
Stamp of approval. Well, James, let's just take a moment. James, you're probably not going to watch this, but congratulations to James.
If James is watching this, then there will be a divorce in his future. Okay? So he better not be watching this.
James Vincent is... you've noticed our editing has improved, the quality of our videos. It's because of James. He does behind the scenes, the editing, the social media. He's getting married tomorrow, so we're very excited for James. We might not have a couple videos up for the next couple of days, but we're
3, 4, 5, 6 days, whatever it is. Just keep watching the same old ones, ladies and gentlemen.
We're just thrilled to have James involved. Also, Pops, that time I just made it look like I was grabbing my shoulder. But
yeah, no, I'm telling you, you're very slick. You're very smooth. If this doesn't work out and Joe Buck decides to retire, you could count on Troy Aikman to help you out.
Lithography.
All right, let's keep moving here. James says, is anyone in the community seeing Kia Telluride vehicles go for anything less than MSRP? No, I haven't seen that. Here in Florida, they go for $5,000 to $15,000 over MSRP, depending on the trim level. Now that I am positive on my GM lease, I will simply sell my leased SUV back to my dealer and get a small check for the equity on my new vehicle. Great resources. Awesome. Nick, my fear is that prices will only go higher the longer I wait. Yep. How do I watch the live stream on YouTube? Hopefully you're watching it.
Yes. Hopefully you figured that out.
One Subaru dealer, which by the way, you can always just up at the top here, you can just click on that play button, but I'm not going to do that to all of us right now.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
On Subaru, one Subaru dealer suggested I buy an Outback that hasn't arrived on the lot yet. On the upside, they don't charge dealer fees nor add accessories. You get the card the way it arrives. That's actually ideal in this market.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
James says Jeep Wrangler Unlimited inventory seem to be pretty decent compared to other brands, but most are charging over MSRP. I was able to get a local dealer near me to give me MSRP for a custom Jeep order, and they agreed they will not tack on dealer accessories or fees, but she can't give numbers right now until it's closer to delivery since lease rates change month by month. This seems reasonable to me, but worried that I won't really know what rates I'll be getting 4 to 8 weeks later when the Jeep arrives. What are your thoughts?
Well, they don't know what the rates are going to be 4 to 8 weeks from now when your Jeep arrives. So what you can establish is what the agreed upon selling price will be. And then whatever the rates are, whatever the residual percentage is, that's set by the bank. And you just want to say very nicely, and you're charging me buy rate for the money factor. Can you show me? Can you show me that it's buy rate? And or whatever buy rate would be for whatever credit tier you might be at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, people used to ask me, well, what's my lease payment going to be? I don't know. Not that I don't want to tell you, but they haven't shared with me what the residual values percentages are going to be 8 weeks from now. and they sure haven't shared with me what the money factors are going to be 8 weeks from now.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, we have our final community post of the night, Pops, from Rob Morris.
Okay.
Hey, Ray and Zach, still trying to sell my ML350 via a consignment dealer. Lowered the price twice. It's a fair deal via Car Gurus. Consignment dealer thinks we should go down some more. I am like, find a buyer. Plus, with all that's going on in the market, I could wait another 3 months to sell the vehicle. What's the art of knowing when to price reduce a vehicle? He says it's listed out there. Should I consider some of the auction sites, bring a trailer, or one of the ones you mentioned last week? Again, not in a hurry, but thinking the consignment dealer is making a best offer.
Well, in the old days, a used car manager would look at his used car inventory, and he would look to see what type of action every vehicle was getting, and he would look at every 15 to 30 days, and he would make adjustments in order to increase action on any given vehicle. And in the old days, dealerships would have an aging policy for their pre-owned cars, 60 or 90 days. So within a 60 to 90 day period of time, they either sold it to a retail customer, or they would take it to the auction and sell it wholesale. So if you're not getting the type of action on the vehicle that you would suspect, then typically it's a price issue, and you just, every 10 days, every 15 days, every 30 days or 20 days, take a look at how much action your consignment dealer is getting on your vehicle. And if it's not as much action as he or you anticipated, then you need to lower the price. It's just that simple. And then eventually you'll lower it enough where somebody will go, I'll buy it.
Pops, I want to put you on a podium here for just a moment.
A podium? Yeah, what are we doing?
See, that's the podium. That's like, I'm putting you on the podium. So we'll put you on a podium because we're going to wrap up tonight's members only live stream. We're going to be live Saturday night from your
at
condo, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
Then we're going to a piano concert, which should be quite fun. Looking forward to that. But yes, I'm going to put you on a podium. Parting shots for tonight. Thank you for.
Well, and I would like to thank everybody that participated and participates week in and week out. You hear me say it often, but we couldn't do this, nor would we do this without you. There's no point. And the people like Melissa and Mike Dean and Justice and Igor, who graciously gives his time and his insights. You all are what makes this worthwhile. So thank you.
And Kimberly.
Yes, especially Kimberly.
Yes.
I'm trying to. You handsome.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that. Cool. Okay, well done. A lot of questions that we went through.
Yes.
Got Saturday night coming up. Is there anything else? Oh, we're hiring again. We're hiring. If you know anyone, some of the positions are remote, so please, if you know people, help us. You can come work in this office with me, and sometimes my dad. How else can I sell this?
I don't know. Yeah, sounds good. You could be part of the change that people are looking for.
Well done, Pops.
You can help expedite the change that's necessary in the automobile industry.
Yeah.
Make a difference.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just like steal. Oh, maybe YAA's new slogan could be like the ultimate change machine or something. Like, you know what I'm trying to do? Like, get sued by BMW. The ultimate. Mike says we need to start our credit union.
Yeah.
Oh, Justice, thank you for the reminder. Since it is the end of the month, Justice will be on live chat over the weekend as well to help you with your car deals as we're approaching the end of the month. So you have access there. So if you need help, join YAA.com. Log into your account, live chat. It's there. So Justice, thanks for being around.
Thank you, Justice.
Will be around as well to support.
Wow, very cool.
Let's call it a night, Pops.
Okay, let's call it Thursday night.
I love you, man. Thank you for doing it.
I love you too. I'll see you what time tomorrow?
Oh, I'm catching I booked the Amtrak ticket. We have a 6:00 dinner reservation.
Yeah.
And I booked the Amtrak. We get in at like 4:20.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to press the end button though, because we don't need to discuss that with everyone.
Why?
Join us for dinner at 6 p.m. at
No,
midnight.
no,
He wants to.
no.